7 days to go until the release of the movie. Just a few days ago, we finally got one of the biggest reveals in the entire Narnia series, I think. It's a moment we've all been waiting for. Here it is, finally, the highly anticipated moment. Woo! Reepicheep. Oh, what a huge moment. Kind of unexpected. You know, this is a picture from the LA Times. You can see a better version of it on Narnia Web. And, without a doubt, that my first reaction to it was, after I got over the shock of, oh, it's Reepicheep, it was certainly positive in that, you know, first glance, oh, he doesn't appear to be white. You know, that's certainly positive. Doesn't look at all like what I saw on set, that little stuffed animal. But, well, you know, we're going to analyze it a little closer here. But certainly overall positive response. But what a huge moment. You know, just Reepicheep finally to be revealed. And obviously we're going to get a much better picture, I'm sure, you know, eventually. But as a first look, you know, how amazing. You know, this is a huge, huge moment. But enough of that. Let's get on with it. I think it's worth, more than worth, devoting an entire video to Reepicheep. And not just this picture, but this video, I'm just going to kind of give my general thoughts on what I want out of Reepicheep in the movie. First off, this picture, I can definitely say that the thing I noticed immediately was the feather, which Lewis describes in Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Not in Prince Caspian, Reepicheep doesn't have it, but he does in Voyage of the Dawn Treader, in the books, I mean. And also in the Pauline Mayn's illustration that I love so much, that that Pauline Mayn's illustration I just associate so closely with my vision of Reepicheep. And so even though in Prince Caspian, Reepicheep doesn't have that feather, I really like that he has it here, just because as soon as I saw it, I immediately thought Reepicheep. You know, immediately, just that visual just made me think of Reepicheep. And so I love that they've got the feather in there. You know, there's a little rapier. We've already seen a close-up of the rapier. But I just love the feather. It just says Reepicheep. You know, just like Tumnus. That red scarf just made it say Tumnus. You know, just a little thing. And so I really like that. And there's a lot of discussion, of course, about the fur. He doesn't appear to be white. At least it's not going to be a very light color. But then again, look very closely at it. And take another look at this picture, but let's pretend like we know for sure it is white. Just think about, okay, he's white, and then look at the picture. Can't you still kind of see that? I mean, very stylized lighting. I mean, Caspian's armor, for example, it looked very dark on the official poster, but you look at it in the real movie, and it's not nearly that dark. So you look at, there's kind of a yellowish, some yellowish stylized lighting going on here. And I can kind of see where if fur was a very light color, it would come across as being dark with that lighting. I mean, just look at some of the yellow behind him, then you look at his fur, and you can I can kind of understand where it still is a light color, and the yellowish lighting is just making it look darker. So I'm not really celebrating totally yet. I'm just relieved that, wow, you know, the feather, it's Reepicheep. You know, it's pretty much, in this picture at least, I just like the silhouette. You know, with the feather and the rapier, it's recognizably Reepicheep. I'm still hoping the fur will be at least kind of a dark brown. You know, if not, obviously it's not going to be black when we see it from this picture. But that's what I'm really hoping for. So, I guess the big word I could use to describe my reaction to this is relieved. You know, it doesn't look like the Reepicheep I saw on set, and not really the one that people have described. But I'm not celebrating yet because this still isn't a very good picture. You know, I'm hoping we'll get a better one. You know, I'm sure we will further down the road. But overall, very positive response. Love the feather. How amazing that Reepicheep has finally been revealed, at least, you know, sort of, even though it's not the best look. And a huge, huge memorable moment for Narnia fans everywhere. So, woo! But I'm going to spend the rest of this video just kind of briefly talking about what I want out of Reepicheep as a character in the movie. The thing I don't want, and Dean Wright talked about this in his interview when I interviewed him, I don't want Reepicheep to be funny, necessarily. I don't want him to be funny, but I want him to be fun. A fun character. I think that's what he is in the book. He's kind of like, yeah, you know, you really root for him. He's just a cool character, you know, and I really want that. Like, he should steal the show whenever he's on screen. And so I don't want him to be, you know, cracking jokes necessarily. I don't think they're going to have that. One of my main concerns with it, though, is that he's going to be, in Prince Caspian, he'll just be little more than a gag. Oh, look at the funny little mouse who thinks he can keep up with the big boys and fight. Oh, isn't that funny? Like, he'll just be kind of a gag. And even when he's fighting, he'll just be kind of a joke. A little mouse beating people up. That's you know, that's great. You know, that's great. How cute. I don't want that at all necessarily. I think initially that's kind of like that's kind of what I thought Reepicheep was the first time I read the book and he was introduced. I did kind of think of him as a gag, as oh, that's kind of funny. That's kind of a funny idea, little mouse being so brave. But I think he earns the right to be taken seriously as a character at the end, and taken seriously in the sense that you respect the fact that he takes this stuff seriously, that he's not joking around, that he really believes in honor and chivalry and all that, and like he's not necessarily joking around. And I think by Voyage of the Dawn Treader, like the whole a cute little mouse, being so brave, yeah, that's still there and it's fun, but I think he earned much more of a respect by Voyage of the Dawn Treader, where he's more credible as a real character with struggles and conflict, and he's not just a gag, And so I'm really hoping that in Prince Caspian, and certainly at least in Voyage of the Dawn Treader, that Reepicheep will not just be a funny gag, that he'll actually be a credible character. That's what I really want. What else? Obviously, the most important thing about Reepicheep is that his fur has to be totally black. No, I'm just kidding. That's not the most important thing. That's a preference because it's in the book, and I always thought the black fur was awesome, especially with the gold. And I love that Pauline Baines picture so much. That's a huge preference. It might be a little distraction if it's not, but it's not the most important thing. As far as fighting style, that's going to be kind of tricky, kind of a similar challenge they had with Yoda, I think, of making it believable and not look silly, which Dean Wright talked about. And, he's a mouse. He should be kind of agile, I guess, and smaller. He's got to make up for his size, so he would be a little more agile. I just don't want to see him, taking down the Mumakil all by himself and skateboarding down Helm's Deep and doing all that over-the-top cheesy Legolas stuff, Not all of that was bad in Lord of the Rings, but he crossed the line in a few places. And so I don't want to see him, just doing all that backflips and stuff. Although, obviously, he should be I want his fighting style to be recognizably, he's got a rapier, that's fencing, just a recognizable fighting style, not just flipping around mouse thing, I think that's important. And also, Reepicheep, I think, possibly more than any other Narnian character, he's certainly up there. He has so many memorable quotes, and they didn't get that many lines from the book into the first movie. They got a handful, but there's certainly a couple lines from Reepicheep that I would love to see in the movie. And I think the one I probably most want is that's one of the first things he says to Peter in the book, and I want it because it's Reepicheep in a nutshell. If you're gonna describe Reepicheep in just a couple sentences, this is what you do it with. I love this line. Reepicheep tells Peter, "My life is ever at your command, but my honor is my own." That's Reepicheep in a nutshell. Hey, my life, do whatever you want with that, but don't mess with my honor. That's mine, And so I'd love to have that line. That's Reepicheep in a nutshell right there. I like the two sides of Reepicheep as a character. I like the one fierce and, if you insult him, you'll have my sword answer to. But the other side, he's still very polite and respectful, and he'll compose himself. I like those two sides of the character, so I'd really like to see that. But I'm got my fingers crossed for Reepicheep. Like, the guy they really had to nail in wardrobe was Tumnus, and they did a really good job with Tumnus. So I'm optimistic that they can do the same thing with Reepicheep. And I'm hoping by Voyage of the Dawn Treader, the scene where he leaves will be a tear-jerking scene. That he won't just be a funny mouse. It'll be, this is sad. This is a character that's leaving, but hopeful. Also, one more thing. YouTube user River Naiad. Bringing the pop-up book back. Gosh, that was the most incomplete review ever. But he sent me a message and pointed out to where they do, in fact, have Reepicheep on the Voyage of the Dawn Treader page. If you open it up here, and how did I not freaking notice this? But open this up, and it's kind of messed up because I've been using it so much. But sorry, that's not a very good look. But there is Reepicheep, and it says right there, "This," said Reepicheep, "is where I go on alone." Line from the book. And and by the way, he's not white, of course. So very cool. Thank you very much, River Naiad, for pointing that out. And I can't believe I missed something so big. Boy, I messed up that review. But 107 days to go, and Reepicheep so far is looking really cool. I like what we've heard. I like what we've seen. And feeling good about such a memorable character is a great, great feeling. It's like, I just kind of feel like, yeah, they mess up some things, but man, if they can get Reepicheep, that would just be really, really nice.